Hello there and welcome to the Bicycle Diaries. Well, here we are, it's mid-February already and I really am wondering where the time is going. The year is just moving so fast. Obviously the UK is still in lockdown, but there are some signs that will be ending at some point. I don't know exactly when, but there is talk that it will be relatively soon, within the next couple of months or so, hopefully. Between that and the absolutely Arctic weather that we've been having here in the UK recently, it's got to the point where I haven't been out on the bike and I haven't really left the house. And this morning I'm actually pretty excited about getting in the car and driving 5 miles down the road to do my shopping at a different supermarket. Obviously, with all of the cold and icy conditions last week, I was unable to get out and actually ride on the road, and consequently all of my riding was done indoors on the turbo trainer. On Monday I did a Zwift session on the Innsbruck course and I rode up one of the mountains there, and that was good fun. And then on Tuesday I did the Jolly Good Velo meetup on Zwift, and then on Thursday I tried out a new platform, or new to me anyway. It was the RGT Cycling app, which up until now I've been unable to access because I haven't had a power sensor on my bike or on my trainer. But obviously with the Saris H3 that I've got, I can now do that. I've only got access to the free account on RGT at the moment, but that gives me access to quite a selection of routes, including Cap Formentor on Mallorca. Now this is actually a very good route for me because it's 22 kilometers with an average gradient, I think, of about 4%. Now the route is a reasonable distance and it's fairly challenging, but the really good thing about that particular route is that it's one that I've actually done quite a few times in real life. The last time was in 2018 when I felt pretty good and I felt I was fairly fit, and then the time before that was in 2016, but unlike in 2018 I felt I was pretty unfit when I rode it. If you don't know that particular route on Mallorca, the main part of it for me is the climb out of Pollença up to the viewpoint. Now that's officially called the Col de Crueta, and it's about 3.5 kilometers with an average gradient of about 5%. When you first start up the RGT app, it asks you to input the rider weight so that it can gauge what sort of tension to put on the turbo trainer. And I put in my actual weight, and I have to say that when I rode up on Thursday it felt really difficult. In fact, it felt considerably more difficult on Thursday than I remember doing it in real life back in 2018. So just for fun I thought, well okay, I'll reduce the weight in the app by about 30 kilos to see if that makes any difference. And while it made a reasonable difference on the Col de Crueta climb, the rest of the ride felt pretty much the same as it did on Thursday. And then on Saturday, just for fun, because I've been watching a documentary about Marco Pantani, and in that it said his weight was 50 kilos, I reduced the weight in the app to 50 kilos and tried that, and that did feel fairly easy, and I had maybe even a little bit too easy. So this got me all thinking about how accurate the settings on the turbo trainer were when I gave the app my actual weight. So I went back over my records, basically looking on Strava, and it was fairly easy and straightforward to locate the GPX file from the times I rode up in real life in 2018 and in 2016. Unfortunately, I didn't have a complete video clip of the time I rode up in 2018, but I did have one from 2016, and I went and did one of these Garmin Verb things where I overlaid the data such as heart rate, cadence, speed, etc. Now the interesting thing was that basically when I rode up on Thursday on the virtual Col de Crueta, it was considerably harder than it was when I rode up in 2018. And when I say harder, I mean I wasn't spinning quite as easily on the virtual one as I was in 2018, which kind of suggests that although I genuinely input my weight, the settings were a little too high on the turbo trainer. But interestingly, when I was fairly unfit back in 2016, I was spinning a lot slower back then than I was on Thursday. As a little bit of a side note here, I wanted to isolate the actual climb up the Col de Crueta from the rest of the GPX file, but when I went online trying to find one of these GPX file editors, I just could not find anything. So I had to kind of just look at the GPX files as a whole and try and interpret the data from that. So the numbers for last week are, I've ridden 97.25 kilometers, I've got 4.5 hours of seat time, and I've climbed 2,295 meters, and that brings the year's total to 549 kilometers ridden. I've got 23 hours and 22 minutes of seat time, and I've climbed 5,507 meters. What I haven't included in those results are my morning fasted rides. They're so short and they're so easy, I thought I'd leave them out because they skew the results somewhat. While I'm here, I'd like to say a big thank you to a company called Y Food for sending me a sample pack of their meal replacement drinks, which I've been having instead of breakfast when I've finished those morning fasted rides. They're not sports drinks as such, instead they're designed to give you all of the vitamins, minerals and nutrients of a regular meal. They've been keeping me full for about 5 hours afterwards, which means I'm far less likely to snack on something unhealthy in the meantime. If you'd like to know a bit more about them, I'll leave a link in the description below, and you can also get a discount if you use this code. The weather this week is forecast to be a little bit warmer at about 9, 10 or even 11 degrees Celsius, but unfortunately it's also forecasting quite a bit of rain, although the weekend is looking quite nice with some sunshine. The plan for me is to continue getting my usual 5 hours of seat time, and hopefully with the weather at the weekend the way it is, I may even be able to get out and do some riding on the road for the first time in about 2 weeks, which will be really good as I'm really keen to looking forward to getting back out on the road again. Thanks for watching.